Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. My name's Bob Lewis. This song's called Drunk on Love. Going home, rest your arms, leave your glass halfway full, play your game somewhere else, break the rules that you set for yourself. I'm sorry if I sound a bit out of key. I'm a little blind, you see. Drunk on love. I'm drunken on love. Drunk. New Year's Eve, feel the streets, sweet Marie, gay Paris, what a tease, yeah. I'm sorry if I sound a bit out of key. I'm a little blind, you see. Drunk on love, drunken on love, drunk. This is my friend Megan Palmer, y'all. Yo. Give me home, Queen of Rome. Share your throne, all alone on your own, but you can't, like a dog with a bone. I'm sorry if I sound a bit out of key, 'cause I'm a little blind and you see. Oh, drunk on love, drunken on love, 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 drunk, drunken on love, drunken on love, drunken on love, ooh yeah.
Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene.
I'm John Popko from Alt 92.1, and I'm the Saturday night host of Alt Natives on Alt 92.1. And I don't miss this couch.
No, I don't blame you. Do you like sitting right next to your cardboard cutout there and getting a face full of your own crotch? How do you like that?
I feel like I could just pleasure myself. I figured we should probably, I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
This thing.
Break the
That looks
ice.
good.
That's a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't leave you without me for
Yeah, for what, the year that you were
a
gone?
month and a half. I wasn't here.
Well, tonight we're here with Bob Lewis and Megan Palmer, who are playing at Karl Hall in Wilkes-Barre this Saturday, April 27th. Usually we're not here on a Friday, but we made an exception for you guys tonight.
Thank you so much, Rich.
We're talking about Bob's musical journey from here to Nashville, his newest album, End of an Era, and Rolling Stone writing about it, looking back on the NEPA music scene and how the Music City is much different, or maybe it's the same. I don't know. That's for you to answer. We'll talk about your music as well. And is this your first time to the area?
You know, usually I just keep driving.
Most people do.
Smart move.
So tonight you've made a stop,
Yes.
and you're going to be here for at least 24 hours.
Yes.
You gotta do the show in about 24
I'm
hours from
excited.
now. So
I'm
all right,
excited.
good. Well, we're excited to have you guys, and we're excited to have you interact with our conversation. So please leave your questions and comments down below. We would love to hear from you guys. Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to ask our guests here, you're welcome to join in. We will get to those later on in the show. So say whatever you want to say. If you have maybe some crazy story about Bob here or something like that you want to tell. I know that's very tempting for the internet public, but we'll throw it out there and we'll see what we get. We also have some sponsors to plug first. We have Beer Boys in Wilkes-Barre, which we had to fight the flooding down here to get. So these beers were very important. We have 3 different draft beers from there's 72 beers on tap. What did we get today? Because I didn't even get a chance to look. Did you look at them yet?
No, I didn't. You know what? I missed the beer more than I missed you.
Yeah, I could see that.
No offense.
No, none taken.
Line & Kugel's Summer Shandy. Pushing that summertime stuff. The Rivertown Halakahiki.
Sure.
And
I think we've had that one before.
yeah, and an SBC Shady Spot, which
Okay, that's a classic, around here
I
anyway.
think that's the grapefruit one, or is it the lemon one?
I never get them right. I think
Shady
Sunny is
and
lemon.
Sunny. So I think Sunny's the lemon.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shady.
shady be the grapefruit maybe,
I
right?
hope.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
All right.
I'm a fan of the grapefruit.
It's like when you go you're expecting a glass of juice and it's a glass of milk and
Or it's like 8 a.m. and you go for like a water or a soda and you grab another beer after a bender. And you're
Right.
like, fuck.
It starts again.
Right before work.
who hashed in this?
Right before work.
So what are we starting with?
I don't know. What do you guys want to start with?
I say sunny.
Why not be sunny? The
Well, I
line.
don't have the sun.
What is
Shady.
Was the
Shady.
Line
Oh, the
Kugel?
shady.
Is the
or-
line Kugel
Yeah, that's the
lemon?
summer shandy. That's
Yeah.
That's got to be lemon, right?
Yeah.
That
That's
sounds-
lemon.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
we'll start
let's
with
groove there.
Line Kugel.
Try to bring some sunshine to this rainy day.
Is there some kind of like thing in Nashville that keeps you young? Because I've known you for what, like 16 years now, and you look the same now as you did back then.
Fresh tattoos. We just
right.
put a fresh layer on.
All right.
Oh, okay. That's a good strategy.
Yeah, we actually all do Botox like constantly.
Nice.
Here you go.
All right.
I need to get bigger cups.
Thank you.
These work. Don't get me wrong.
Thank you.
Well, cheers to you guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Being
Thanks
here and-
Yeah.
for having us on the
Thanks for
show.
having
It's
Thanks.
not, I don't
for
know.
these
It's
delicious
not even
beers.
that we made an exception for you as much as you guys fit us into your schedule. So that's
Well, that's true. Well, you guys literally just got off your flight and rushed here. Is that?
Pretty much.
That was the basics
Yeah.
of it.
Wow. Well, we're honored. Thank you. Let me plug Beer Boys quick. They have a half price happy hour every night of the week from 8 till midnight on Fridays and Saturdays, 9 to 11 every other night of the week. Tonight they have DJ Rich Steele there for Flashback Friday, playing all your old school favorite dance hits. And we also want to plug the V Spot. We were just talking about them earlier. One of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania with live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Grace's Downfall and Another Day Dawns tonight. Better Than Bad is playing their last show with their singer Jeff on Saturday. DJ Huff is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And our NEPA Scene Rising Talent Open Mic is back on Tuesday nights, which you're familiar with. You've been at one of those before.
Yeah, it's been a few years, but I was just trying to remember the last time we saw each other, Rich. That was my first.
Yeah, and I think it
thought.
was 2015. I think it was.
Sounds about
I have
right.
a picture from that actually that
We have digitized
yes,
proof.
we do that you were there. I think Brittany brought you, didn't she?
I think that was our connection, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is amazing because Megan has just met Brittany 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
in Portland.
In Oregon,
We
yeah.
were in Oregon together all at the same time, randomly.
Oh, that's funny.
But it was fantastic, man. It was same thing. We got to travel to that corner of the world for some music, and didn't spend a lot of time there.
Went by real fast.
Very fast. We flew up to Alaska to do a couple dates. We spent 36 hours in Sitka, which is like an island like on the southern part of Alaska.
Southeastern Alaska.
Yeah, for my first time to Alaska, Megan's an old pro at it. She's been up there a
It
few
was my
times.
6th or 7th visit, but I had never been to Sitka, so.
What are shows in Alaska like? Is it any different? I know everybody talks about it like it's some exotic place. Is it pretty similar to around here? Is
You
it,
know, it varies. You know, sometimes you might be playing in a roadhouse in the corner, and you're wondering if anyone's even listening to you during their dinner. And then sometimes you're doing like a full-on concert. It just depends, and it could be any of those scenarios or others. But they really do love music up there, and they try to support it. So it's actually a nice place to go as a musician.
Yeah.
Because people want to hear the music and they want to pay you to be there, which is awesome.
It's almost unheard of.
That's a win-win right there.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't hear that too often.
Yeah.
Pay us to be here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so weird. You're like,
Come to this majestic place.
we'll
use-
show you some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fantastic trip. And the people that we met and the place that we got to play and the radio station that we got to do there. Just
Yeah,
super,
it's really
man.
cool.
Well, let's start off by kind of going back to the beginning. How did you guys get started in music originally? When did you get started?
Man, I was thinking about that on the plane today for some reason. And it's been 25 years since I've been playing out.
Wow.
I was like 14. Probably down the street right here at Metropolis.
Cafe Metro, yeah.
30. Turned 39 this year, so 25 years ago. I've done a lot of different kinds of bands
Yeah.
in 25
Me
years.
too.
Yeah, where did it start for you?
Well, my first official band was in Northeast Ohio, where I grew up, and I had a string quartet that we formed in the 6th grade, and we did gigs like constantly all the way through college, and traveled the circuit. And then that was probably the most normal band I was ever in. The rest turned into all kinds of shit shows, but.
That's part of the journey, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, and those are some of the most fun,
Yeah.
low pressure situations to be in,
Yeah.
looking back or being able to have had so many different kinds to have comparison stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's kind of all like has led to evolving to, I don't know, Megan and I running into each other and then starting to develop our little musical connection,
How did you guys meet originally?
It's kind of like the circuit here, it's like every musician knows every other musician. Nashville has a similar small townness to it, not like a giant New York feel like I might get lost in it situation.
Yeah, it has a nice community, and everyone kind of knows each other, and we all intermingle.
We're going to the bar, and we're watching this person on Tuesday, and then on Thursday we're at this guy's house, and it's very, I think, small, community-minded.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I think it happened. I think I saw
Yeah.
Megan accompanying somebody else.
Yeah, and I think you were working at the 5 Spot, and I was hanging out
Could've-
there, pretty much every day.
Could have been part of that.
And then, I think we played at Shila's party.
Oh, that's right.
And then I think that's when we kind of started talks about, like, playing together a little bit and working on tunes. And
Right.
before we really even were a duo or whatever we are, we just were helping each other finish songs, you know, and just like, what do you think about this? Should I do this? Should I do that? And just kind of bouncing back and forth, and formed kind of a alliance, and started learning each other's music, and then started playing.
Yeah, it's to do this kind of stuff on your own is hard enough, but I find a relief having a partner to work with and like kind of put an icing layer on the cake or
Oh, yeah.
take some of the pressure off in that situation.
I'd
and-
much rather be on stage with somebody that I trust and, you know, feel I know that he knows the music and I know what he's gonna do, and instead of just being up there by myself trying to convince everyone that I'm doing something.
writing the greatest songs.
You want to hear this song? It's
You-
great.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you felt the last month and a half. You were like really lonely and
I was. I
Oh,
sat right here in this very corner and cried.
how will
Constantly.
I do this without John?
Did you just start talking to the cardboard?
I did. After a while, we became best
I
buds.
did
I'm
that.
actually closer now with that cardboard cutout than I am you.
I did that for you, you know.
I appreciate that.
Had nothing to do with me. Paid good money for that.
Well,
I'm glad it's not defaced. Because I would have been upset about that. Sorry.
we're waiting for you to come back first, and then do it in front of you.
Burn it.
I don't know, man. If it costs all that much money, I don't know if that's something you want to do with it. Recycle it, maybe.
I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it in my office at work and freak people out.
Yeah. Well, it's like actual size, right?
Oh, yeah.
Put it in your
Yeah.
kid's room so he's like always behaving.
That's true.
Dad's watching.
It's a great idea. Hope it works.
Well, you've been in a lot of different local bands, as you mentioned, over the years. Are there any particular memorable shows or highlights for you that you recall? That
Man, many milestones, I think, for me here in town with a handful of bands. I was lucky enough to have success with not just one or two, but like a handful of great people that I got to work with or, you know, build audiences with or play a genre of music with. So, yeah, man, I think in each one of those projects that you guys kind of had mentioned in the you know, podcast, I don't know,
The description there,
Yeah, I was like, loved it, had a blast. Wow, remember all those tunes? Remember, you know, I could think of amazing things about playing with all those folks. You know, which is like a strange thing as we get older because, you know, not all of them are still with us.
Right.
You know, so that's like a reminder to like love what you do and try to be the best thing, do the best that you can, be the best person that you can be. And so thinking back on some of those memories, playing to sweaty 80s out peoples and at Club Excess or at like
Yeah.
Bruise Brothers down the street. Amazing times of my life. But then like classic rock stuff like playing with the Mr. Echo dudes at Banco's every Sunday was like a hoot. You know, it was like it was a wild time. And also like made me like tighter as a musician, or maybe also made me realize that I wanted other things about music, and you know, so we evolve and try different things, and I think that's kind of where it landed to me. If that's the kind of milestone thing you're talking about, yeah, just simple things like that, or even original bands, man. That's even the reason why I started kind of hanging out or playing was to play guitar and be an originals band. And I mean, I was playing at Rodano's Pizza 25 years ago around the corner at punk shows, you know,
Yeah.
that we had to set up ourselves right in the back room a block from here.
Well, people who knew you back then and remember that kind of music, like Bedford and stuff like that, I'm sure they're probably like, what is he doing now? This is probably so different. Now, did you feel that it was kind of a natural progression into that, or did it just kind of, you know...
Man, there's always been a close connection between punk and country music as far as I'm concerned, with maybe the inspiration or the kind of chord changes maybe sometimes too, you know. They have this uncanny kind of similarity to it, and I don't even necessarily know if what I do is like country music. I'm kind of like even think I'm evolving past that is I just want to write songs, man. I don't care if they're like country or punk or whatever they are. I just want to keep writing them and keep having new ideas and keep creating new things. But yeah, man, I think I've spanned the, like the different styles of music.
Yeah.
From punk rock, hard rock, good grief stuff, M80, 80s stuff, classic rock stuff. Like, I don't know, that's a pretty wide gamut of music, I think, right?
Well, I'm looking forward to your death metal rebirth in a few years too. That'll
Man.
be next.
Don't say no. I wouldn't say no. I got some metalhead friends that I'm definitely I try to stay in tune with their stuff, man. This is a hill you die on shirt, man.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like
R.I.P.
right.
I know, right?
Right.
Gone too soon.
Right.
Really?
Scranton Doom. I'm into it, man.
I enjoyed them.
I think that's
Yeah,
the
they were
thing,
good.
though, is like Nashville isn't just like one-sided. It isn't just like the country music capital of whatever. It's like Music City, man. There's
all kinds of stuff going on there.
jeez, man.
Yeah, I think people generally think it's all country music, but there's much more going on
Yeah,
there.
that's just one little sliver of what's going on there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you moved in and never looked back.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm always looking back and hoping that I'm doing enough, keeping busy enough that I can keep the wheel turning.
Yeah.
But that has led to me having some pretty cool jobs too, and led to me experiencing some cool things. When I first got to Nashville, I had to work in the shoe store, and I had a second job, and then I started doing the back gate at a nightclub. I did the thing, man. I did all the things I had to do to make it happen. But now it's evolved into this nice thing where I work inside that bar now, and I get to work with bands, and I bartend, and I manage the early show, and I see great bands all the time, and it's like it revolves around all the other stuff I want to talk about anyway. So somehow I've landed in a place where I'm earning a living. And I'm also talking about all the stuff that I want to talk about. It's pretty amazing.
Good.
That's
Happy for you.
That's living the dream right there.
I think so, man. But, everybody there is a hustler. Everybody's got a side hustle. Everybody's got a gig to turn the other gig. Megan is like the same way. She's a hustler in her second life that we have to lead. Right?
Yeah, I hustle all the time, every day.
How has your Nashville experience been?
Oh man, it's been awesome. I moved to New York for a while from Ohio, and was there for about 5 years, and then after that wore off.
I think people, everybody does a little time in New York,
you do
in a big city like that.
That's where you learn how to hustle. You know,
Sure.
that is like you get off your lazy Ohio butt and learn how to hustle. And so then I moved to Nashville about 5 years ago, and it just felt right. It felt like the right place to be, for songwriting. Because that's what I really love to do the most, and I love to play lots of instruments, but I really love to work on songs. That's my favorite thing, and there's a lot of opportunities there for co-writing and just tapping into that creative zone that at any given time in Nashville, songs are being written in hotel rooms, bedrooms, parks. I don't know, like everyone's like, I'm working on this song. So it's just sort of like a great place to feel like you're not a total freak because you'd like to do that.
Right.
And I'm also a nurse, so I've had plenty of work there because people get sick.
Sure.
So
That's kind of a universal
Who would have
thing.
thought? Yeah.
I don't applaud it, but I know how to take care of them, so I do that as my side hustle.
Nice.
And I have a really flexible schedule, so I can get out and tour as well, and no one gets mad about it. So
It's pretty neat. People typically side hustle is like I'm gonna drive for Uber or
Yeah, right.
or like sell drugs.
Oh,
on the
there's all
side.
kinds. It takes all kinds.
She's a nurse. A nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I can do I can say no to the gigs I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And, I
Right.
can just be like, oh, I got to work. But it makes room for the stuff that I really enjoy doing. So it's good.
You probably nursing too. I'm sure you have some interesting stories and things that come out of that.
Definitely.
Taking care of people and stuff. Does that play a role into your music at all?
Lately I've been integrating it a little bit. I used to kind of keep it pretty separate, and every day a weird story will happen, and I thought, oh, that could be a song. But yeah, lately I've been kind of merging the two, and I have a couple of like nurse songs in my back pocket. I'm ready to show the world, pretty soon.
Okay. Well, let's go into some music on your latest albums. So you have End of an Era came out at the end of last year, right? Can you tell you a little bit about the inspiration behind some of those songs?
Sure, man. It's interesting because I was in a different part of my musical evolution. Yet again, I was playing in a stony 3-piece like rock band, and one of the members of the band died. The drummer of the band, my friend Ben, and man, it was a real young dude and kind of a weird, tragic story. And I was like concentrating on that band, trying to do that style of music or that thing, and I just didn't know what to do with myself kind of after my friend had gone through that thing. And I think like just trying to still write songs and continue to do something that made me feel good, like I was adding positive stuff to the world. So that's what kind of turned into those End of an Era songs. It was like I was like not even sure I had songs. Like, this is a fragment. I think this kind of sounds almost like a song. Is this Megan? Is this a song?
Yeah, it's a song.
Yeah. Okay, it's a song. Let's record it.
Yeah.
And like just kind of had a bunch of friends in my close circle like that pushing to get it finished. My friend Nate, who recorded it, and the all-star buds that came to town and played all over the record. Amazing stuff down there, so many kind people and so many cool people, and so many people that just get it in the sense of we're all out there doing this crazy thing, this crazy hustle. And that's kind of, the songs on End of an Era are like maybe a little bit all over the place. They're not just one specific subgenre of the thing that we're talking about.
That's kind of what I liked about it, I think, because right away it was like, oh, this isn't necessarily, you can't say it's a country album or a folk album or Americana or anything like that. There's influences all over the place.
It's not
it's very
not quite like Ween or something like
yeah,
like there, but yeah, man. And it's like just write songs and just let it be music. I think we're trying the shady. Y'all.
Shady
All right.
It's
spot.
getting shady.
I enjoyed the last one. That was
Yeah,
really good.
easy to
nice,
drink.
Nice
Yeah.
flavor.
Summer. I think my cousin Jackie likes that summer shandy, that line in Kugels. That's where I've had that before.
this one
It's
was
a staple.
this was made right
yeah.
up the road actually.
Okay.
With the SBC?
Yeah.
We drove by it and we thought we saw my friend John and Kate because they're playing.
Oh, yeah, that's
they're
right.
Playing
They're
there
playing
tonight. Am I
there
allowed to
tonight,
say that kind of stuff on this thing?
Yeah,
I can say
say
whatever
whatever
I
you
want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. John and Kate are playing at the SBC tonight, and it's like the pretzel beer combo Auntie Anne's tasting thing. So, might have to make a quick pit stop in the old SBC's up the street before we hit the pizza party.
Yeah, there you go.
Pizza party. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So when I get to town, oftentimes my cousins are cool enough to get together and like take time out of their lives to like, oh shit, we don't get to see each other. Got to meet somewhere central, and everybody bring a different pizza.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so then we have this.
Nice.
We just get loaded on this varietal pizza.
I hope someone's got a tray of Pizza Perfect.
There's Pizza Perfect there already. There's 2 Pizza Perfect trays before I even. I know. 2 Pizza Perfect trays.
It's
Cebula's maybe is coming.
It's not a pizza party without Pizza Perfect.
I think there
I
might be
can't wait
some.
to do this.
Berwick Daylo's
how many,
coming up
How
the
many
line.
will there be?
I don't know, maybe 8 or 10.
That's a great idea.
Especially if you have a guest in that doesn't has never experienced the finer
Yeah, you're not gonna.
times.
I could judge the pizza. I can tell you which one's the best.
We might do a blind
I
pizza.
can eat some pizza.
Yeah,
Blind pizza full
You're
test.
unbiased.
You might not even be ready for all the weird stuff that we do to pizza around here.
What's the weirdest thing you do?
Well,
If you say pineapple, I'll punch you right in the
no, a lot of people hate that some of the pizzas around here have American cheese on them.
Oh.
That's a big
American cheese?
yeah on pizza. Yeah, that's just
Oh my
that's a sin to many people,
goodness.
especially in New York. You've been in New
Yeah,
York, and if you
yeah,
told a New Yorker that, they'd probably stab you. Like
They might. They at least never speak to you again.
yeah, at the very least.
Yeah.
Some of the nicer ones, man.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, so there's definitely, and a lot of square pizzas, a lot of
Fried.
weird.
I'm
Fri-
saying
At
it's
this
square
age,
pizza.
it's called preloading. My friend Adam Witkowski says, you got to preload. You get the antacids before the pizza party.
Ah, right. It's a good strategy.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. Shit.
All these things you dawn upon you when you get a little space from the valley. And then you're like, you come back and you're like, oh yeah. Got to preload at this age.
I love that.
So that's how I keep it so young, John, the preloading.
Preloading.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
Yeah, this just the, yeah.
That's the
I
secret.
feel like you're not stressed. You've never been stressed though. Like, I don't. Not that I've ever seen. You've always kind of been like just cool.
Cheers to that.
Wow, what's
All
going
right.
on? Nothing, man. Nothing. Everything's good. Everything's good.
No, no outward stress.
There you go.
Well, let's
What were
see.
we
We
talking
talked about his record. Let's talk about your record a little bit too.
All right. Well, I had a record. The last record that I've put out is a couple of years ago now, but it was kind of like the record I wrote when I got to Nashville. Kind of like reclaiming a little bit of sanity. Like living in New York, it is crazy. It is like when I got there, I was like, I should have come here when I was like 20. I was like 30, and I was like, oh, I'm too old for this place. But at the same time, I was like, it's wonderful, and you can have anything you want. It's all at your fingertips. And then that wore off a little bit, and I felt like I wasn't writing enough music. I was playing a lot, but it was just like, it didn't matter. Everything was getting shut down all the time in New York. All the clubs were closing, all the places I like to play. And and that happens everywhere, but I was just kind of like, I don't see myself, A, getting old here, or B, like, ever really doing music, like, seriously. So I split, and when I got to Nashville, I started writing songs immediately, and just kind of like, they just started coming. And I got in the studio and put out the record that I guess it's been 3 years. And still kind of riding the wave of that one, and,
She only has 2 other ones in the can.
I do have one that's coming out this summer, and then I've got another one in my mind that's going to come out after I record it. So, probably starting to write for the third next one coming out.
And it's hard, the music business and putting out records, or I don't even know what any of that stuff is really.
I know so much of it's digital. I released
Right.
a single last year, and like I don't have a copy of it, but you can get it online, and it's all there. Everything's digital now, and I don't even know if I have a CD player. Do I have a CD player? Do you
I have one left in my car.
Yeah, in my car.
Do you like that? Like, I mean, from an artist perspective?
I'm very
Do you not
confused.
care? Like,
I'm
It's
really confused by
confusing
it.
because you still are lugging around merch, and because there are still some old school people that want a physical CD,
That's
and I
neat.
have vinyl too, and so I'll lug that stuff around and occasionally sell it, and sometimes just carry it around like it's just like it makes my bag heavier.
Yeah.
And then like for
Totally.
myself, I'm guilty of being like a digital listener, at this point where whatever I want is there, and then like I always try, if I really like a record, I'll buy it, and support the artist as much as possible, because like we don't get money really from streams. My stream.
What was that? Josh Turner. Can you say that again? Josh Turner.
We don't get money from streams.
Fantastic. Can you say that again? One more time. For my friend Josh Turner.
We don't get money from streams.
There you have it.
I haven't
Argument one.
I haven't seen any of the money from streams yet from End of an Era. And it's like I had hired a company to roll it out, to digitally release it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put on all the mediums for you, and
Right.
and it's not set up at all the way you want it to be, but it's all out
Someone
there.
else's,
Right.
Yeah. And then it's all lost in the ether, and then you're trying to track down somebody else to track down your money and what little money it is.
And it's like $4.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, you better just love what you're gonna do, and not count on that $4.
Mm-hmm.
Every like 2 or 3 months, Josh Turner and I get into it. And like he'll send me something, or I'll send him something, because he's like, he's got his opinion, I have mine. It's all for fun.
Convenience.
I know, and that's what it's all about too.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I still have an iPod Classic. It has not died yet. So like,
Is that considered vintage already?
probably. That's
Well,
2000
25 years they consider it vintage.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that
it's
a
about,
classic
it's about
car?
10. It's about 10 years old now.
Okay.
But like
Halfway
that to me is like so I'll go out and buy the CD. I'll burn it to the computer, and then I'll put it on the iPod, and the CD goes on the shelf. So I never my CD collection is like pristine.
Yeah.
But I had that iPod is basically that big CD book that we used to carry in our cars.
Oh my gosh,
there
I
it is.
used to have those. Oh my gosh.
So I really enjoy that. And
Yeah.
I'm terrified for the day that it actually dies because they don't make them anymore. So
Well,
Your kid finds them in the attic.
Daddy,
What are these shiny discs?
starts throwing them around like frisbees.
Yeah.
no. The cabinets are actually in his room. Yeah. So
Teach them well.
hopefully like when he gets older enough he'll think they're cool, but probably not.
I think it's important though to have the hard copies of stuff, because digital can go away at any time. A platform dies and everything goes with it, and people don't realize that. Like even movies now are already. We're at the point now where some movies just aren't being released on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. So unless some streaming service decides to pick it up and then they can drop it at any time, Netflix has stuff for so long and then they get rid of it. Now where's that movie? You can't find it anymore.
To take it a step further, we're at a place where we're making so much music and art that like our government can't keep up with digitizing it. I got a chance to go to the Library of Congress Sounds Division on one of these trips that I was working for somebody doing a tour managed gig, and I got a tour of the Library of Congress
That's cool.
of the film and art and music department, like walking through this giant building where they keep all of our country's films, like back to the acetone ones where they're kept in these cold rooms that are protected because they can catch on fire and need to be extinguished immediately, and they vacuum off the one. It's like amazing stuff. It's brilliant stuff, and they're trying to digitize all that information, and they can't keep up with now where we are at the threshold. So even if stuff gets made digitally, who knows what's going to be remembered in 100 years? This podcast, maybe.
Maybe. You never know.
It'll be a shining diamond. And
I hope so.
Facebook has made things disappear before.
Yeah, absolutely. Facebook, like the one episode is just lost in the ether, and we can't get it back. So we always stream it, we back it up, and then we put it on YouTube. But YouTube could go tomorrow. So, and YouTube, just like Facebook, it's all algorithm based now. So stuff gets buried. So you think that like, okay, I'm putting this out to the world, but then the almighty algorithm that no one will understand because they change it every few months. Just buries it, and then you never find it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's the same with music a lot of times
yeah.
too, where you spend years of your life writing and producing this music, and it finally comes out, and then it just gets lost in the ether of all this other stuff going on. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, man, I think you got it. You hit the nail on the head there, man. And that's, crazy for a person like me to like experience, but for somebody like you to see that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
all the musicians are kind of going through that right now, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we were deciding to become like IT marketing experts when we wanted, when we got the
right.
the inspiration to write tunes.
Yeah.
But suddenly we have to like get on all this stuff and put it on the.
Yeah, there's no real guidebook to this stuff.
Yeah.
And then even if there is, it changes. By the
Right.
time that book is published and you can pick it up and read it, that's all changed. That
Right.
information's now null and void because everything has changed since then.
Right, and then like even getting booked at a festival or a concert series, they'll look and see, oh, how many streams do you have on YouTube and how many of this
Right.
do you
Right,
have.
their
And
requirements.
and that's what they're deciding whether or not you can get a gig. You know, it's weird. You know, and I've kind of resisted, and it probably, backfires on me. But I'm just kind of like, I'm not playing that game.
No.
Yeah.
And that stuff can be falsified.
Yeah,
They've
people
proven
buy
that many
fans,
times.
you can buy
Sure.
likes, you can buy all of that stuff.
Buy
Totally.
records.
I think
It
the world now
happens.
is too analytical. Even like it's in sports and like the analytics make pitchers only pitch X amount of innings or a certain amount of pitches, and everything's just too analytical.
And like we're at the peak of it because it's like, as humans, we're not going to evolve into some better pitcher, or you know what I mean. Like we're just there. We're as far as we can be.
Yeah.
Right.
Or are we? Or are we still at the bottom?
I don't know, man. Space ball.
Who knows? Man? AI is going to take over. We won't even need to play sports. So let's have robots playing sports.
Yeah, I
Writing
mean,
music.
We'll probably turn into some half hybrid, like
We'll
Joe
just-
Rogan says.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds like you're ready for it with your CD pack and
Yeah, right?
you're ready to go.
You put that in your son's room on purpose so you can all bunker down. In
I'm
there.
ready for the
Once the
apocalypse.
apocalypse
Yeah,
takes
yeah.
over, you guys will all be
Instead of
set.
canned food, I got
Yeah.
CDs. Oh, shit.
Well, let me ask you this then: with it being so hard to get your music out there and get people to pay attention, how did you end up on a Rolling Stones radar? How did that happen?
Annoy people enough. you become a thorn in their side. Finally, they want to pull that thorn out so it doesn't bother them anymore.
Okay.
No, really, it was just a series of, knowing a few friends that knew a few friends, and as we start playing and hanging out with each other, you find out that the people that are in journalism often are going to nightclubs and drinking beer and watching music and do it, thinking and talking about all the same kind of stuff that everybody wants to think and talk about. And it's Rolling Stones really, close to our heart because our old pal Jay Hudak and Joe Hudak, his brother, both local music people from here are the connection to types of things like that. I've known Jay Hudak for 25 years, in some of those first bands. And so when I moved to Nashville, I know his brother had just moved there from Philly and from his other journalism gig, which was awesome for him. He was changing gears and going into something that he was really passionate about. I think he was writing for TV Guide or something like that before that. And it's just like, man, it's amazing how small the community is in Nashville, how tight-knit it is that all these people mingle with each other and write songs with each other and study each other and support each other. So I'm super thankful to be, just be around, man. And I think that's what it's about. It's like being involved in your community. Like Megan and I get to have great community experiences in Nashville on a regular basis. Like, I don't know about you, but our last 4 or 5 tour gigs and the gigs in town that we've been doing have been all these I've just had a blast at them gigs, and there's a bunch of friends around, and you're playing music with friends that are really great at what they do, and it's like, it's a really powerful thing. It's been a powerful thing lately. So that's the reason why I think I'm like kind of, that's the charge that I get out of it. Is at least we have that. We don't have, money from streams, but at least we have the humanness
Well,
of
and it points to, wealth is not always financial, and that's why we have side hustles. And, because making art is proven in history to not always be financially fruitful, but it does make you feel good to be alive. So I guess I'll take it for now. Maybe the money will come later.
Maybe that has a little bit to do with, and it's not just preloading.
It's being happy.
being
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Maybe.
that helps.
Could keep a couple gray ways.
Yeah.
And I don't think it can be stressed enough the importance of hanging out with other creative people, because and it's not to say that people aren't outside that realm aren't worth hanging out with or anything, but like when I was trying to come up as a writer and I was working part-time at a Blockbuster, I had some good friends there, and I also had some friends that just complained about their lives all day and just were like, I'm miserable because I'm in retail and I'm getting yelled at all day and stuff like that, and I am too. So it brings you down and it makes you think, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm a loser. There's no way I'm ever going to be a journalist. I'm just going to do this forever. I'm going to get screamed at by some lady whining about late fees all day, and that's going to be the rest of my life, and it's really just brings you down. But when you hang out with other creative people who are struggling and going through what you're going through and want to feed your creativity and understand how your brain works and that kind of thing, you can get out of that. You can get out of that slump, and you can see it as not this huge burden anymore, and you can kind of move forward with your life.
Totally. I love the way you described all that. And I think it points to, like, people who we might see as ahead of us in the process. They have that same feeling,
Right.
They're still striving and still feeling like they haven't made their best work, and they still want to get further, and they want to work harder. And, like, that's a huge inspiration. It's like, you're never going to be done with it as long as you keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's not a statistic. It's not a cross it off on the list thing, even though you got to go through that and kind of all those tested in fire kind of situations.
Right.
Man, that's a great point, though, too. And the same kind of thing, I think, happens for people in photography and the same, journalism, photography, art, painting, writing, poetry, musicians, all those different comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
So, and locally, I think like NEPA has a pretty cool, always had a pretty cool like undertone thread of that going on. We're lucky to have people like you guys that are around and still willing to talk to people and still like going out and making events up for people to gather at, to mingle, to talk at like an open mic. Makes perfect sense.
It's like we're one of the last ones left between your radio show and what I do, and there's a small group of other people, but it's all dying off. We came from print media, and that's all going away real fast. And the newspapers are so worried about keeping the main paper alive. They're like, arts and entertainment, who gives a crap at this point? So they're really just phoning it in, and the page counts have dropped to absolutely nothing. You wonder why they still print some of this stuff anymore. And it really, it's really up to the people who are passionate about it. And then you hope that, like, all right, if I drop dead tomorrow, I hope somebody else is going to pick this up and keep going and talk about this stuff, because there's really very few outlets for those artists to get their stuff out there that, like, actually care. Like, I'd rather interview, I'm sure you feel a similar way, that I'd rather interview the small up-and-coming bands than, like, the guys who've made it already. They've already done that interview 1,000 times. They're like, yeah, it's great, cool and all, but, whatever. It's nice to meet somebody that maybe you've been listening to a long time, and that's cool, but I'd rather talk to, some of the independent artists who are really trying to make it work and, don't have an outlet to get their stuff out there all the time.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I just talked to AJ Jump today. We're playing tomorrow at Karl Hall.
Yes.
And like what you're doing here, like the radio show that I have, I don't get paid for. The Karl Hall for AJ is not a financial gain, so to speak. It's not.
He's not rolling in the millions.
It's for all of us, it's more of a passion. And I've known Bob for a long time, and I've always been involved in the local community and local music scene, and just like you have, and AJ, obviously he's been a venue owner now, and he's been in probably the same amount of bands as you've been in,
and at least half the ones that I was in at one time or another.
Right,
one of us,
crossover.
The best one was Ends with Disaster.
Oh,
man, that's crazy. I texted Kevin today. I've been thinking about that guy a lot, and it's
Thank you.
He's doing well.
Yeah. He seems like he's really well. It's like we follow our friends on that same digital platform too. Like people that you can't get in your normal orbit. And you're like watching their kids grow up, and you watch them move, and you watch their families change, and all this stuff, and it's like, it's so disconnected from the way that we used to be as human beings, you know, to have to learn that information or learn that
But
stuff.
it's so cool though
Right.
because
But I'm
we
still
would
very
never
thankful.
we would never have it. You know, I wouldn't know what you're doing.
And
You'd be in
instead
Nashville,
of
I'd be like, whatever.
right, and instead of 15 friends, I have 1,000.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm like, oh, you know, I feel that way about it. I feel good that I'm able to keep in that instant.
But
No
yeah.
argument with that one. Is it? You know, what would Josh Turner say? Do you think it's good to have?
I don't know. He surprises me. There's things that I think he would hate and he loves, and there's things that I think he would love that he hates. I'm trying to think of a certain thing.
Wow, this one is like wine flavored.
Pineapple, I believe.
Dago White.
Yeah, it has
Grape.
a Kahiki name
Yeah.
to it. or
Yeah, I think
something.
it's supposed to be like a Hawaiian sort of pineapple sort of feel to it. Yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah.
So let's read a couple comments and stuff too before we go. So if you have anything to say it now. Is your last chance. Let's see. Jason says, remember the old days of hanging out with Bob and helping out with the punk band. Good to see my old friend back in the area.
Woo.
Jason Hilly.
Oh my gosh. That's 30 years ago.
Brian Falzone says to play a Bedford song. Do you even remember those anymore?
I don't remember those chords, but it's crazy because I still talk to those guys too, man. Phil has got some time coming off in the summer in June. We were talking about the Southeast run. That was Phil from Bedford that I was talking about. We were talking about getting together and like doing some of these runs together because you know Phil plays multi instruments too. He like plays accordion and piano and bass and he plays everything too. So we were talking about maybe doing some future runs with Phil. So maybe the Bedford song will come out on one of those runs. I think that would be the more appropriate.
Steve Martin is a fellow Ends With Disaster fan.
I
saw that.
James Naylor, he said, the real deal right here. Bob is a true artist, man. No boundaries. So psyched for you.
Aw.
See, it's all good stuff. See, we're one of the few. I think I made this comment last week or the week before that our audience is much nicer than the average internet audience.
For the Northeast.
Well,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know-
You look at even our other local media outlets, and it's like, oh dear God, do not read the comments.
Talkback
Oh,
16.
yeah.
I might have to
That's
get Megan
entertainment.
hip to the quick picks of the Talkback 16.
That's classic.
Oh, and Matt Matei, which thank you, Matt, for setting this whole thing up. He actually was the go-between to make this interview happen, so thank you.
Really?
He said, great point, Rich. Fellow creatives always keep you afloat. And that's the thing, too, is, you know, he did the print media thing, too. Like, we've all kind of been there and done that and gone through the terrible process of it sometimes. And, you know, you try to come out the other side, like, you know, smarter and better at what you do.
Yeah, I think, and he had it much worse than we did.
Yeah.
You know, he was in the during the hard decline.
Yeah.
The slope, the White Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
he got pushed off the edge.
Yeah.
Basically.
But you know, that's what I think gives us the perspective to you know, empathize and understand the artists that we cover.
Sure.
You know, because we see the same struggle and stuff because we just love what we do and we want to do it, and hopefully every once in a while get paid for it. But
I
you
think
know.
that's what I was trying to get to before. I kind of was like, you know, I did a
Uh,
big circle around that. But yeah, we do what we love, and it just makes it fun.
well, this show's gonna be great because we're in Karl Hall in Wilkes-Barre where people actually go to see music.
Whoa.
what a concept.
Whoa.
You know, there's plenty of other great venues in the area, but you know, a lot of times people are kind of going there to have drinks and then like, oh yeah, there's something going on, great, and then they go right back to their conversation. But Karl Hall, you kind of go specifically for music, which is great. So what do you guys have planned for that show?
I'm sorry to disappoint everybody. There's no Bedford songs on the set list. Mostly stuff from my new record and a bit we're going to hear from Megan's latest stuff. And we got some other musicians that are joining us that are local guys too that I think it's really cool to come back and be able to use the really talented people that we have that are already here.
Right.
If they're available, because they're busy people too that are getting paid to try to make music. So my friend Angelo is going to be playing keys with us, and Dylan Skursky's going to be playing upright bass. So we're going to
Nice.
kind of have a 4-piece to rock with. Our friend James Yamaris is open up, and he's got his own kind of layer of singer-songwriter stuff going on right now. I think he'd be the perfect kind of open and support brother to do the thing. We're trucking it down to the Jazz Cafe after that even
That's
to
right.
check out a bunch of blues
Yeah.
stuff. With yet again, like, man, the musicians in this little valley
Dude,
Yeah.
that
it's-
are just great and cool, you know?
I'm gonna try and get to Scranton to see the showcase at Irish Wolf.
Who's that? What's that?
There's James Barrett. There's Amanda Rogan from Sweet Nest, and 2 others. You guys are down here. Dustin's at the Jazz Cafe.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got permission from the wife to head on out, hit the town, because she's studying for a test. So it's like I gotta do like a triangle here.
Better drink your coffee stout that night.
Yeah. So, but it's cool though, because there's so much great music being performed right here in this little small town.
It's really just convincing everyone else to go too. Like
Right.
that's the hard part. Is like
Man,
people
it's
just,
hard.
they want to be cynical. They want to say there's nothing to do.
It's
around
hard.
Here,
It's hard. It's hard to have the extra couple of bucks that you want to go have
That
a
too.
couple of beers, and
Right.
then get in the car and feel weird about driving, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's
Well,
like
if you're
it's
going to Karl Hall, stop over at Beer Boys,
There you go.
grab 1 crowler, have that. enjoy it.
responsibly,
Yeah, drink a beer over the 2-3 hours. You're fine.
right?
Good to go. And then you can go to all these other places that have stuff
You could
going
take
on
them
too.
to go, apparently, right?
If you guys need a ride, Johnny Popko's going to all 3.
That's right.
He's got
And
permission.
I can't screw up because I got I got too much to lose.
Driving the special Alt 92.1 Uber.
Yeah, I'll get the van tomorrow. Throw
There you
everybody in
go.
the back. Let's go.
There you go.
Party van.
Party van. Get the van.
And you've been playing with some local musicians back in Nashville too. I saw you playing with MiZ recently. Is MiZ down there?
Man, Miz has been down there for a few months.
That's
man.
cool.
It is like our paths have weaved across each other's, circles for years.
Yeah, yeah.
He's done an M80 gig years ago, man, where he played guitar at Tinks. I remember.
Oh wow.
I
Jeez.
used to go see his band play at Old Time Charlie's all the time. Andy Sloboda and all those guys. Great, killer people, killer musicians. And now he's down there doing the same, thing, man, tapping in to, hey, I like to write songs. That's what the MiZ experience.
Is it a small world, or is it this NEPA thing that just connects everybody?
Yeah?
All right.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Definitely some kind
You're
of weird
in
mojo
You're
about
in
it.
Portland, and you run into Brittany Boot.
Man,
what-
she wasn't
Yeah,
the
right?
only one. I had 5 people to see when I was in Portland.
Right, but
Matt Farrell is out there, Renan, Witkowski.
Oh wow.
There's enough of us that are I guess spread out, that anywhere you kind of throw a dart in the map, you can find some of us.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
The NEPA takeover.
We're everywhere. Like a disease.
Matt says, "What doesn't kill you, fellas? That's ain't that the truth?" So I guess we should wrap up then. Anything else you want to throw in before you guys want to close out with another song, maybe?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to throw in? before
Man,
we
Rich,
go?
I think, just thank you, and thank you guys for tuning
thanks
in.
for having us.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks for getting to
awesome.
talk about art for an hour in my hometown, and maybe we could turn you on to a Megan Palmer song or two.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We can do that.
And grab some of those things. What do you think, man?
So how's it feel to have a Friday night show? Isn't that weird?
It's Friday?
Yeah,
It's not Wednesday.
it's weird.
Let
the
loose.
weekend. It's real weird.
Getting nuts tonight.
Keep going with the growlers.
My wife's she's studying, and it's getting nuts.
What is she studying?
She's a pharmacist, so she's
Oh, wow.
studying to I should probably know this, but
Way to
she's
put
just
him
really,
up,
she's
way
just
to
really
put-
smart. She's
Yeah.
there's I think the test has like a 60% pass rate, so it's like really hard. And,
Okay.
she's
Okay.
really smart though; she'll be fine. But I'm excited for it to be over because she gets stressed out about it, obviously. So like once that's over, she
Right.
kind of like breathe a little bit, and you know, it's all good.
You want to
So,
play?
I think next week too we're doing another Friday show.
Are we?
I think so.
Jesus.
I was just talking to Gerard before this, and we might
Maybe
do another
Friday's
Friday
gonna be
show.
this new buzz, guys.
Maybe.
Yeah, Friday
Maybe.
afternoons,
Friday night
Buzz.
buzz.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
Cheers. Thanks again, y'all.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you
Cheers.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you to the V Spot. Thank you to Beer Boys.
Yeah.
Thank you to Cold
You missed me,
Creative.
man. Can't do that.
Best of luck to you guys tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by, and it's great seeing you, man. It's
You
been a
too,
long time.
man. I don't think you look that different either, though. That's what's funny. It's
A
like,
little fatter, you know.
is that what it is?
All these like slimming black
Well,
shirts to try and hide
as
it
long
a
as you're
little
the
bit.
one that's pointed out.
All right. We'll see you next
Ouch.
week. We'll get out of here, and you guys do your thing.